Okay, y'all. With that, we are going to kick things off. Thank you all so much for joining today's quarterly business update. As always, if you do not have the opportunity to join us live, this recording will be shared later today and also posted on the Hub so you can watch it at a later time. To first go over what to expect on today's call, you'll be hearing from Jeff, Trevor, and Matthew presenting on executive updates, as well as some updates from marketing and from operations and training. As always, participation and engagement is going to be the foundation of this webinar. If you have any comments or questions, there will be an opportunity at the end of each section for you to type or unmute yourself to comment or ask questions to the presenter for that respective section. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Jeff to kick. Jeff, you are muted.
First time being on stage. Thank you, guys. Good morning. Hope everybody has had a great third quarter and a great Thanksgiving and getting ready to wrap up the year. Wanted to kick this off really focusing on a little bit of a vision for 26 and kind of reference what we're all planning to do. So want to start actually with some elephants in the room that maybe are on some people's mind, because there's been some obviously things that have occurred that have made questions in the air, and we can address a little bit today on this call. Starting first and foremost, we, in the first time in Everbowl history, unfortunately had to terminate a franchisee. We've never had to do that before. It was something that we struggled with for about 7 months trying to prevent. However, we must make sure that we protect the family and community of Everbowl franchise system, all of the people who operate stores with the highest level of integrity, with that being one of our core values. And at the end of the day, well, I can't get into too much of the details because it is private between that company and us. You know, ultimately, there was multiple things outside of just reporting of sales that forced us to this end result. We really did try to not get there. It was sad. It was hard for us. We made many attempts to keep them in the system and find a amicable solution. But at the end of the day, their underreporting and the way they were treating the brand was detrimental to everybody, including our ability to have a effective brand dev, an effective reputation. And it's not fair if one group is doing stuff that is hurting us all. So you may or may not be aware. It's not something we can really get into too much of the detail, but I did want to share that it was a horrible thing. We wish we didn't have to do it. And through understanding how this industry works, unfortunately, it is something that will probably hit any franchise system at some point. And just know that it was done with us really considering all other options and not wanting it to get to this point. So I just wanted to address that first and foremost, because it happened, and it may be somebody you guys know, and you may be wondering kind of why and what. And ultimately, just know that we did everything we could to not get to that point. But we did. And the second elephant before we get into kind of the 26 stuff is you probably have also been aware of some turnover at the corporate level. Some of our team members, even some who are on this call, are unfortunately going to be moving on in their journey. Same thing here. Listen, we have an obligation to be the best we can be as we elevate from, small system to bigger system to where we are today on a national system. We're going to always try to ensure that we bring the best talent for you and solve the issues and support that is necessary at each stage of our journey. Just like Everbowl is for everybody, so is the fact that we have to pivot and adapt the roles and the support mechanisms and the growth areas of the team. And like all things, we have incredible team members here, and their journey is bigger than just what they may or may not be doing today. So yes, we've had some turnover. It is not in an attempt for us to shrink the team. So we are expanding into other departments. We are looking, and we'll be able to share shortly what and who else will be joining the team from different departments and how we are addressing the 2026 and beyond challenges, as well as what we are going to provide to ensure that we are meeting the needs of the system kind of at this stage. So I just wanted to address those two briefly and quickly while we can't get into details on either of those, too much in a broad spectrum. Ultimately, I want you guys to know that we're not shrinking, that there are some new positions that are being joining, new departments. And as we have some more details shortly, Trevor or I will be able to share. So anyway, those are two elephants. Wanted to get that out of the way. But now we get into some more of the more important fun stuff. So 2026 vision, kind of where we were at. So 25 was a tough year. obviously with the tariff scare, I'm sure made everybody else feel as scared as I was for a period of time of what was kind of going on in Brazil. Our technology needed to be upgraded as we hit where we are. Our marketing capabilities, our market segmentation, our ability to understand who we're marketing to and how those results are happening had to improve. Our app and our loyalty programs and our ability to compete with the big competitors and AI and what is available from a technology was very essential. Obviously, with expenses going up everywhere, so was reducing our cost everywhere we can and ensuring that we are empowering our entire system, all of you plus ourselves, to market, to win, to connect with customers, and then we can be able to focus on how do we do that more effectively. So 25 was about foundation. It was ensuring our supply chain, making sure that we had adequate product that we can meet the needs and keep our COGS down. Number 2 was our technology stack, our point of sale system, our loyalty program, and how we communicate and talk to our customers and understand our marketing. So 26 is now the fact that we've done all those things, and I think the team has done a great job. It's now about brand awareness, guest habits, and Kaizen. The best way to grow sales, which is basically those 3 bullets: increase sales, profits, and remarkability. And the way you can increase sales and profits the best is by creating new habits for guests, not just giving them food one time, but people follow habits. That's why Starbucks is such a mainstay, because it is a habit. So we have to increase the brand awareness to both our current customers, but also new customers or new potential customers. We got to then create habits, and then we got to Kaizen the process. And that is really the 26 vision from our corporate staff. Like I said, we did supply chain, we did tech, we did foundation, and now we roll lighter fluid on this thing. And so the big one for us is going to be increasing sales, because revenue will fix all problems. Revenue is great. It allows you guys to make more money. It allows us to increase our customer count and grow our stores. And so we're going to do that through basically 4 main things, starting first and foremost with menu expansion. If you haven't noticed in our space, but Smoothie King for the first time in 40 years expanded to food. Tropical Smoothie sells food. Jamba Juice sells food. Joe and the Juice has food products. And what that means is we are expanding outside of just the cold bowl category, or we are the leader in, if you just take acai bowls as a solo SKU, take juices and smoothies aside, we are very strong. So we've already got that customer knowledge base in our community. So how do we attract both the people who are the veto, the ones who don't necessarily want this product base, so they won't come, and or allow them to come with a friend who does want to consume this product? How do we start to do marketing where people are going to tune in who don't already know us? What are we going to say and talk to them about that makes them now become aware of the brand, either for the first time or for the first time with open eyes? And so menu expansion is something that we have been working very hard on. We're very close to having a pretty cool program, which will introduce new day parts, breakfast, lunch, midday snacks that aren't just acai bowls. Products that you can serve as well, both that are not only just going to be cold, but it's going to be hot. And it's going to expand our ability for off-premise catering and event sales in a way that we have not been able to before. But the key thing for us was still maintaining the operational efficiencies that we have today, keeping it to where the same individual employee can accomplish that without it being a concern about cooking quality, introducing a whole bunch of new infrastructure. So while there will be potentially new equipment necessary, it will not be anything that requires massive installation or health permits or any of that. It will be something that will sit on the tabletop counter. It will also all be able to have food that is very, very easy to create. It's keeping the same throughput goal of 90 seconds or less for the most part for everything, and allow our youthful staff to be able to do it at the same high, remarkable level, and make it dynamic enough that we believe it's going to increase AUVs over 6 figures per store, and that has been the target goal. And we believe we can do that immediately. That's going to allow us to do new marketing, which is going to allow us to also hit that off-premise opportunities, which is the fastest growing segment for restaurants. It's over 50% nationwide of how many sales per box of QSR is off-prem. And Haley actually gave us shared a link yesterday, which we'll share, I think, with everybody later, which was from the National Restaurant News. And it was quite fascinating for everyone to see. So I'm going as fast as I can, guys, because I only have, I think, 3 more minutes. So additionally, in the profit sector, this is also going to allow us to reduce COGS even more, reduce our G&A, and then by us being able to sell more and buy more from our distributors, Cisco and Dot, it's going to allow us to increase our rebates from them to reduce our food costs further, because the biggest challenge is buying enough product per drop. So if we're able to buy more food because we're selling more food, it's going to allow us to negotiate stronger and better prices, which is going to reduce our cost of goods. And the last one for the vision for the year is going to be remarkability. This is an important one. We have to improve across the board. You have to hold us to a higher standard as we grow as an organization. Every year we're Kaizening. So as we hit 26, it's imperative that we operationally at the corporate level are improved, that you hold us to a higher standard, that we provide a better level of support. We are holding ourselves to a very specific set of objectives and a set of standards. And same for you guys as our partners, right? Because we've got to remember, we're not corporate versus franchisees or franchisees and corporate. We're all the same. We work for you every day. This is what we wake up to do. We are essentially trying to make you guys grow your business through more sales, more customers, and make more money. If we're able to do that, you guys win. If you win, we win. There's no way, no side where one of us wins and the other one doesn't. So our standard must improve, and so should yours. And so we're going to do better to better have transparency between each other through reporting and understanding. And now that we have the Toast, and now that we have Incentivio, and now that we have a bunch more applicable tools that allows us to have and share that, it's going to be a really powerful opportunity for us to focus on that third bullet, remarkability. So from a high level, that is the brand vision. I think I have 3 more minutes for Q&A. So I really wanted to get all that out and then pass it off. Oh, sorry, forgot the slide. Thank you, Haley. This was that off-prem growth we were talking about. So we were 71% in-store in 2024. We were 68 so far this year. Our goal for 26, while increasing the total AUV, is to get 50-50 in-store off-prem. Off-prem not just being third-party delivery, which is expensive, but catering, drop-offs, order ahead through the app, and order ahead through the web. By doing that, we are meeting the customer base where they are, where their behaviors are going. So the research that you'll see and we'll share later is going to show how fast the consumer behavior is changing from an in-store experience to how we order and consume and buy product. So we've got to make sure that we are very cognizant on what we're doing as a company to make sure that we are providing better communication to drive them there, better reasons to drive them there, and realize how our consumer behaves. A lot of times we now use the third-party delivery platforms or the catering platforms or these order outside of outside of the restaurant platforms as a Netflix. We go to them not knowing what we're about to order, and we kind of scroll through the restaurants to find what we want, or we scroll looking for a product. And that's another reason why menu expansion is going to be quite important. So that was my ramble. I got 2 or 3 minutes for any questions, if any.
We have a couple questions that have been dropped in the chat. The first comes from Kim in Raleigh. She says, do you also anticipate a need for increased staff to operate in store in respect to menu expansion?
Well, let me answer. No for the expansion, but yes, because we're going to be hopefully increasing revenue enough to require another human in to support the increased AUVs. But no, just like our current model, the idea is that the same number of employees can handle and do it at the same speed. So it is going to be an expansion as far as the products and allows us to stretch where we've never been. But it's not going to require a second individual or an additional individual to support it.
Kimberly Harris in Williamsburg asks, can you provide additional insights into the new menu items?
Yeah, they're not completely all finalized, but we are introducing animal proteins for the first time in our system. It has been a major request from pretty much every non-Everbowl person who doesn't come. It doesn't mean that we aren't still being true to who we are. We are Everbowl for everybody. And that means that we've got to meet the customer where they are. And the customer who does not try our product because they're not familiar with it or they don't think they enjoy it and they're looking for some protein source, they will never come to our store. And so while we don't not still offer everything we're offering to the consumers we're already offering, we've already provided them a solution. But we are Everbowl for everybody. And so unless we want to shrink the total pie of capability of potential customers, then we've got to understand that there is a cohort of consumers in America who are looking for a specific type of item. And so you got to understand that that is why Jamba, Tropical Smoothie, Smoothie King, all of the competitors in the space are all offering in some form or fashion. They've expanded to that space. It doesn't mean it's going to become the main thing we do, or it, but it's not. It's just got to be included. So therefore, we have that ability for that consumer to come in. So that is going to be like kind of a high level. There will be an egg product in the morning. Sandwiches, I think so. Sandwiches. There will be a version of wrap or sandwich. Yes. It doesn't mean that they're not still going to have non-protein options, but for the first time, we're expanding into the animal protein offering and going away from we don't have animal products in the restaurant.
Another question comes in from John Murray. Are we planning on any bowl innovation, protein-based flavors, etc.?
Yes. Yes. There will be protein bowls on the new menu, and we are looking at fun ways to increase and include protein in our already existing platform, whether it be through whips or new acai products that is going to have some pea proteins or some other options. We're working on that. But the initial launch is how fast can we get the first version of this? And I think to tie that in, historically, we spend a lot of time testing to try to bring it to you. We're going to ask you guys to all be part of the test, meaning the product, the individual products may be a little bit broad to start, and we'll shrink it down to sell what sells, the good old famous sell what sells. But it's time that we all work together. And the goal is as fast as we can in the beginning of the year, so we can increase and get ready for our earnings season, which basically, as you all know, starts in March. So test what we can between now and get everybody up and operational and familiar and efficient by the end of February. So once March happens and our consumers really start to flock back in at a high level and our revenue hits the peak earnings season, we have so many ways to stretch that and our AUVs can grow materially. Our goal is over 150,000 in AUV per box. That's my goal. Hold me accountable to that. That's going to happen. And we're going to make that happen together. And we're going to do it in a way that is very profitable and takes Everbowl to that next level on a national scale.
Jeff, can you please repeat your expected timeline? Kimberly Harris asked, what's the timeline, just to make sure that everyone's clear on that.
January. So I'm saying you'll be hearing from us in the next week or two on kind of what that's looking like. We're going to do a short-term minimal test for operational efficiencies here, and then we're going to have a rollout plan for everybody, and we're going to have all the training completed and the mechanism to have that happen. And then in January, we're going to be launching this new menu.
Are there any other questions at this time?
One in the chat, Haley.
Mandy in Ball State asks, where will this equipment go?
I'm sorry?
Where will the equipment go?
Right on the counter in the front of house, right on top of the under counter freezer, or right on that back wall, depending on your store build out design.
And Tara and Wes, you have your hand raised. You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, hey, what's up, Jeff? Quick question. As franchisees are continuing to look to grow, do you ever see providing some sort of platform or funding from the Everbowl to help minimize that upfront capital to the Z?
You mean for the equipment?
Yeah, for the all around. I mean, equipment
Yes.
for sure, but just maybe helping fund, or maybe the royalties look a little bit different when franchise, or when really financing potentially through Everbowl or some sort of funding. Is there something in play for next year or in the near future of that? As a franchisee ourselves, we want to grow, but that upfront capital can sometimes be a challenge, especially in a market that is oversaturated. So just curious to see if you have anything planned for that in 2026.
We do. We are finalizing also a pretty unique financing model for existing multi-unit franchisees for new store growth. And we do have, and one of the things we're working on for any new equipment is to provide a no CapEx upfront financing option where it'll be very minimal on a monthly basis. And so that's part of what we're working to finalize now between now and the end of the year. And I'm negotiating as we speak. The goal is generate revenue, make the profit, and then make the equipment necessary for that to be just a cost of goods sold. And then obviously for anyone who's looking to scale and grow in more boxes, as I know a lot of you and me have discussed, and we are, yes, I have a pretty big initiative that is almost finished to be able to offer very, very exciting financing option for anyone to expand their store, so long as you're a multi-unit franchisee.
And Jeff, before we close, there are a couple comments that have been dropped in the chat in regards to the space on the counter. Second, that space is a concern. Counter space, fridge space, same. Freezer is already overcrowded. Would you like to address those?
So it's hard to address specifically because obviously everyone's space, not everyone, a lot of spaces are a little bit different, and size is a little bit different. And without having the exact parameters of the equipment, because there's a few options that we're working with, it's a revenue generating tool. So we'll be able to work together with your specific store and needs to either find the space or identify how we're going to adapt to it. But I can't really address it on a broad level. Matt or Trevor may be able to provide, or if you have a concern once we get there and we're kind of rolling it out offline, if you want to shoot us a message or shoot me a message, I can kind of go through your specific space and go pull your as-built and understand if that will be a concern. But these are not the size of a microwave. It's not a microwave, but the size of a microwave type piece of equipment. So we're not talking a massive piece of equipment, and we'll be able to find a spot for it somewhere, unless it is a very specific, unique circumstance.
Wes?
Yep. Sorry, one more. As you talked about growth, as a Z, sometimes I think the frustration feels that there might not be, you address the elephant of people leaving or back office support. What is your goal in 2026? Haley does a fantastic job. She's stretched super thin. I'll be the first to say it. She's wearing a bunch of different hats, it feels like. So as time as a Z or things are rolling out, it seems very rushed and there's not enough preparation. What is your idea of growing your back office team to help support these 100 to 150 stores we're going to have next year?
The goal, great question. And Haley does wear a lot of hats except for today. Where's your hat, Haley? But the goal is not to stretch anyone thin. It was to understand, if you think about how fast our kind of organization grew, it's been a great thing for our growth. But at the same time, if I use a sports analogy, and if you guys aren't big in sports, I apologize. But think about a high school kid that goes straight to the pros and doesn't have the ability to grow their experience alongside the traditional method of how fast or slow it takes to get there. So we had to identify what was the missing needs, what are the capabilities that we are lacking, or where we have to improve our strength. And the hardest thing we ran into prior to this year was our technology prevented us to have visibility. So marketing, as an example, to answer one that probably is an area, we had to try to outsource it to a big firm, and we didn't really get the love and the results we were trying to see there. And one of the big things we kept running into is we had limitations with Crisp, as I'm sure all of you felt and saw. We didn't really get to understand customer segmentation and understand how our marketing dollars was responding back to us. This is the restaurant hospitality arena, so business intelligence tools up until most recently have been very antiquated. And so we had to understand also, where can we provide the support, and what can even the best marketer in the world can come in, but if I can't tell them, or they can't look at our data and know where it's going, it's hard. So that's not a people answer. We had to solve that first. Now that we did that, we also had to understand where are we not remarkable, and where are we Kaizening, and where does our staff need to expand? Not the current staff, meaning who we have, but what are the areas that we didn't realize were going to become a need so quickly? And so local store marketing approach is important. But we're looking to increase the headcount from 25, not decrease it. So the team is expanding pretty dramatically. Matthew's going to talk about some of that on the financial level, I think, on this call as well, on what's already there. But we have been interviewing and discussing, and have some resources that I think Trevor has in his slide, or we'll be talking about later, as far as like different other additional roles. But ultimately, we understood that it was a hard, it appears hard for you guys, and we're expanding the support mechanism infrastructure here. So you're more people, more resources, and we're ensuring that, like I said, hold us to the standard that they're going to be the most remarkable talent that we can get, and we're working hard.
Appreciate the transparency, Jeff. Have a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions from the group? Fantastic. If you have any other questions related to the subject presented in this section, we'll also have a question section at the very end of the call. To continue on, I'd like to pass the mic over to our president, Trevor.
Great. Thank you, Haley. Appreciate it, everybody. Good morning. Thanks for your engagement, as always. Always nice to see your faces here. So what I want to start with is just kind of a review of some of the things that we have done. I take it quarter by quarter, because it's kind of, I'd rather give like an end of the year recap right now, and then in January we can give more of a forward looking analysis of where we're going. But we accomplished a lot, as you've all noticed. It's a small team that's been small but mighty. We started out the new year in quarter one by completely revamping our smoothies. That led to us going from about 6.8% sales in smoothies to about 9.8%. So we gained about 3% share in smoothies. The fan favorites have been some of our top sellers. The product innovation that we've done with it has been spectacular. We got great guest feedback from it. So very excited about that. Obviously, we introduced our second wave of sips. So we had the full line complete. We started that last November, but then kind of finished that in Q1. And that's also been, a really good addition for additional sales, additional average check. It's not a replacement item, but it's an add-on item, really leaning into beverages that are super prevalent right now. We also added Client Tether and kind of perfected that at the beginning of the year. Client Tether is our CRM platform, and that helps kind of the touch points, which you've kind of all gone through from the beginning of when you interacted with the brand all the way through franchise agreement signing. So there's a piece of technology that kind of lightened our load a little bit. And then in Q2, we moved on. We did our spring promotion, reintroduced Butterfly Pea with a few new different unique items. We launched our summer promotion, Frozen Sips, a completely new item, a spin on the sips, so we didn't have to bring in new products, but we had a fresh, exciting new product for the summer season. NABB was the best that we have ever had. Sales were through the roof. We gave away more bowls than ever and saw increased same-store sales on that day. So it was a spectacular National Acai Bowl Day. We introduced the spectacular refab group, right? So now you've got representation from the franchise in marketing. And so Mike Fowler's done an incredible job with leading his team to kind of help be a go-between at the office to kind of bounce all of our ideas off of and then get feedback from you as well. So we can incorporate that into everything we do. So big hats off and thank you to Mike and the refab team. Really appreciate all the efforts that they've put in so far. Volunteer work, by the way. So again, double thanks there. We introduced Moxo, which is another piece of technology that really kind of, again, as Jeff had alluded to, replacing a lot of the inefficient methods that we had, the manual methods we had with a lot more technologically forward platforms that help you, give you visibility. Now, this is mostly for the new store construction piece of the puzzle, but it kind of really outlines the franchisee journey from the day that they sign a franchise agreement all the way through construction. That's going to help you as you build new units. It really works our way through the process in a much more streamlined way. And then, of course, we were on Shark Tank. Incredible. We had millions of views on Shark Tank and really got great brand exposure across the system. So that was yet another thing that Jeff was able to organize and bring to the table through his relationships. In Q3, we kind of kept the heat on. We launched our fall promotion. We introduced Nutella. That did really, really well for us. As you know, we're keeping Nutella as a permanent item now. So that was like a LTO, but more of really a product introduction at the same time. We onboarded a new real estate partner, Foundry. So we brought them on board now to manage our national real estate process. They've done a really, really good job for us, best that we've had so far. I think that we're in a really good place with our real estate site selection, our technology, everything that we use are getting better and better at selecting locations as we go. We added Publicity for Good. This kind of, again, replaced that much, much larger behemoth of a firm that we were hoping was going to be a huge lift for us. Ended up really not being a good fit for us, but we have replaced them with Publicity for Good, who has done a spectacular job so far. Their engagement is really, really good, very strong. They're starting to really spread our name kind of locally, regionally through Publicity, but they also are handling our social media, which we think has been dramatically improved in its content and its reach and ability to get to our guests. And then they help us on the graphic design side. So, outsourcing some things that we used to have in-house, but have upped our game in that level. And then finally, brought on a new fantastic partner, Happy Day. They have been a great product for us, introduced our gluten-free oats, and now have a whole line of products that we're introducing. Very, very good company that is founder-led and mission-based. So really appreciate everything they brought. And then in Q4, as if that wasn't enough, we brought an entirely new tech stack to you. Toast. We onboarded Toast in 32 days to make sure that you had this in time for the holiday season. And then going into our busy season, Incentivio as our new loyalty partner is almost fully up and running now with all of the platform capabilities. So we start to really generate some good feedback and great touch points with our guests through SMS, through push notifications, and through email, which we had not had for the prior portion of the year. So we really think that the fruits of that tech stack is going to start bearing fruit soon. And we've also, introduced ShipDay to really help be our white glove delivery partner. In addition to that, we launched our winter promotion. Our hot oats are doing very well so far. Great guest feedback on that. And keep the feedback coming from the field. We'd love to hear what the operators think of it as well. On our next update, we'll be able to give you some really good statistics for that. And finally, we are renegotiating our Cisco MSA. You know, this is always a tough relationship with us. They've got their priorities and we've got ours, and we do the very best job that we can to navigate those to make sure that they deliver for you. And so this Cisco MSA is going to tighten up the restrictions and their requirements to deliver quality products to you on time at a fair price. So as you can see, really a lot packed into the 4 quarters that we've done. Statistically, you know, through this year, we've added 15 new store openings. We've got 1 more to go this year. Briar Creek Camp, we are rooting for you. I can't wait to see that get open. And then we've got a really packed first quarter next year for openings. So in addition to that, we've signed 50 franchise agreements year to date. That might be a record for us, I think, with a new partner that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. We hope to really up that significantly next year. And we have 11 leases that are signed currently and not yet open. So like I said, that first and second quarter is going to be really packed with openings. And we're about 1% positive in same-store sales. That's kind of where we've been on trend. It is better than the industry average right now. I think if you remember back to the Q2 statistics that I showed, you know, major segments of the industry and the major players are all down in same-store sales because we are, as Jeff alluded to, in a difficult year. 2025 has seen many fewer transaction counts throughout the restaurant segment. So I think that it's a testament to the fact that we are up in same-store sales because we've done more catering, we have raised our average check, and we've kind of been able to fend off those losses that we've had. Now the question is, what do we do and what do we put in place to get those same-store sales significantly higher in 2026? And that is the master plan to win for us. So good results, but much better to come as far as, you know, our ability to drive traffic to your location. So I want to talk about a couple of those ways that we're going to do that right now. Before I dive into that, I want to talk about another partner that we've brought on, Franchise Grade. They are going to take over our entire sales process. The reason I mention this to you, because you're already in the system, and this doesn't necessarily apply to you directly, this is for new franchisees, is it does have an impact on you. One, we're going to have a larger pipeline of franchisees coming into the system through their marketing and through their apparatus, right? So we're going to get more people into the system. Obviously, the more we grow and the more people we have in the system, the larger the brand dev fees and the more that we can spend on marketing to our company. So growth is good for all of us and ultimately benefits you directly. Second, they're going to take a large load off of our shoulders, right? So internally, we've been doing the sales process here at the corporate office, along with Alex and his team and Justin and his team. They're going to kind of take that away from us and lead that entire process. So we'll be on the periphery as opposed to the lead. They're going to help us to vet better franchisees and bring better franchisees into the system as we continue to progress forward. So we're excited about that. And they're kind of in the onboarding process now, and they'll be fully active by January 1st. But most exciting, directly to you, we want to introduce Neil Patel Digital. We have just signed an agreement with NP Digital. I want to talk to you a little bit about it and then introduce Neil Patel. So this is our effort now to really focus and double down on local SEO. So Neil Patel is a world-renowned marketer. He has an agency called NP Digital that he is the founder and CMO of right now. If you have followed Neil, you know all about him. If you haven't, please follow him. He has a reputation in this industry of being a thought leader. His company has worked with brands of all sizes and all different industries, really laser focused on how we grow sales, right? So they're going to specialize in our local SEO. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Neil because he's going to do a much better job of telling you what his company is going to do for us than I will. So Neil, take it away.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me today. I'm really excited. I love the product. And just as a heads up, our corporate office before COVID used to be in San Diego, and we used to cater Everbowl to our office. The product's great. And you know, we're a global agency. We focus on all things from SEO to creative to earned media. We have 1,000+ people. We're in 28 countries, I believe it is at this point. So we can help out Everbowl no matter where they are in the world. I know most of them, if not all of them, probably US, but you know, over time they'll grow everywhere. And what we want to really help here with is getting more foot traffic into your stores. And we've done this for not only hundreds and hundreds of other companies, but we've done this for a lot of franchises, both on the B2B side and B2C. And the reason I'm emphasizing B2B, there's a lot of money for you guys in having companies order Everbowl and you guys fulfilling that for them. And when we look at what we're focusing on, as I mentioned, local SEO, things like Google Business Profile Optimization, citations as well. Citations are super important because a lot of people these days are going to places like ChatGPT and Gemini and asking questions like, I'm in the mood for something healthy but tasty and sweet. What would be good for my kids and family, right? And ChatGPT is using your IP address to figure out where you're searching from and give you responses that are based on where you are versus just random results throughout the whole United States. We're going to help with things like content, things like cleaning up and claiming Yelp pages, reviewing and monitoring how you guys are doing, as well as revamping the whole store locator so that way it's more indexable and crawlable, so that way you get more people, not just from the Everbowl website, but from all the platforms that take that data like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Bing, Google, etc. We're going to be working on the website. And of course, we're going to continually focus on getting you more sales, not just in store, but also from the B2B end so you can get more of those orders. I think you're on mute, Trevor.
Can't hear you. All right. Well, I'm going to assume that Trevor was going to say that he's ready for questions at this time. So
Can you hear me now, Haley?
now we can hear you.
Sorry, my phone did something weird there. Yeah, question is answered. But before I do that, Neil, I just want to say, you know, we're super excited to have you on board. And for the franchisee system, like, this is your hard-earned brand dev dollars at work, not just driving national brand awareness, but driving local SEO and local sales to your locations. So as you all know, the only way that we win is if your sales are through the roof, right? And so we're all working on every effort, whether it's brand nationally or local, to drive your sales as high as they can be. And this is going to be a great partnership with us to do that. So with that said, I'll open it up for questions.
Mike, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Absolutely. Neil, welcome. First of all, we're excited to have you, and nice to meet you. I look forward to working with you on this. Local marketing has been kind of a gap, I think, over time for a lot of us. And so what I'd like to, the question I have for you is, how do you propose working with the individual franchisee on a local basis, whether it's in San Diego or Bloomington, Indiana, or wherever in the country? What does that look like?
Sure. So there's two aspects. There's a corporate level where we'll do from the corporate site and the whole Everbowl. But when you're looking at local, we not only want to set up best practices, we want to set up programs that are easy where you can just plug and play them, and you can do better in Bloomington, Indiana, or you can do better in San Diego, California, or Boise, Idaho, or wherever you may be. But when you look at marketing, just like this is a franchise and a lot of things are templated out, local marketing is also templated out. So it's coming up with the framework and the guidelines and be like, hey, here, you guys can either go and execute on it, or if you want, we can just go and execute on it on your behalf if you don't have the time.
Awesome. Love the idea of just a framework and a checklist that says, hey, plug and play and move. So awesome, Neil. Appreciate it. Look forward to it.
Trevor, we have a question that was dropped into the chat from Wes. Trevor, with back office growth talked about, do you have plans to create a specific POC or area manager for the Everbowl team for both area developers, Alex and Justin? I think if this gap is closed, it will be massive for the Z's, as well as knowledge and standards being set nationwide for Everbowl.
That's great, Wes. Thank you for that question and that suggestion. We actually next week are meeting with both area reps to talk about here in San Diego, to talk about how we are going into the new year, how we're supporting. And so that is one of the ideas that we'll discuss. Certainly, we want to make sure that you guys have access to us, but also if you're under an area rep arrangement, that you've got a great close point of contact that can deal locally. So we will take that under advisement, and Justin and Alex and the team and I will discuss that at length.
Wonderful. Any other questions? Feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute yourself before we move on.
And Wes, feel free to shoot me an email with a more expanded idea there, or I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one about that so we can make sure that we incorporate that into our discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Trevor. Another question I have, these quarterly business reviews are great. Have we ever, I know it's been brought up or talked about potentially like one monthly call. I know you don't want to oversaturate it with one every week, but one monthly call of, it only has to be a half hour, 20 minutes, whatever it may be of, hey, this is what we're looking at this month. This is what's worked well. This is where sales are. This is what we're looking to market this month. Like, I think that might be more suitable for some of us franchisees who are further away or don't get that exposure that everybody else may get or doesn't get. I'm not really sure, but I think it will keep it engaged. And then, if I think about the recent launch with Toast, I think a lot of us felt lost. I think there was times where this seems like a lot's going on here. And if we would have had maybe some more runway time or just maybe a little bit more explanation, or we did hold multiple calls. I know Haley did a great job on holding calls prior to launch. But I think if there would have been just some more exposure to it, or, hey, here's where we're going, this is the process, this is the system, I think that the rollout of that might have been easier. So another idea for me would be, hey, maybe just one call monthly, not wait till the end of the quarter or the beginning of the quarter.
Yeah, Wes, I think that's a good call. And I think, one of the things we really need to look hard at is just our communication cadence with the field. We have done our best so far to kind of set up this drip campaign leading up to a quarterly QBU, right? With our communications and newsletters. But I find that we're still not effective enough, right? And part of that too, that we're struggling with internally, honestly, is the engagement on the franchisee side too. So a lot of the things that we do, we don't get the engagement that we want. We'll send out surveys and they won't get responded to. We'll try to get storefront pictures up and they really won't get, we won't get the response. And look, we get it. You guys are all busy. You're running your businesses. So, our goal is to figure out a way that we can communicate super, super effectively with you without inundating you. And one of the ideas that we came up with is maybe that even weekly, or maybe this is monthly is better. We post on the hub all of the top bullet points that happened this week. What things should you pay attention to, right? So if we know that things get lost in email, they get lost on the hub, they get lost in a video communication, and that you just don't get to all those things. So maybe if we bullet point out, we were talking to Refab about that as well. So I think that our communication cadence and content does have to change in 2026. We would welcome your feedback to help us do that. Our goal is to communicate the best way we can. I'll give you just anecdotally, the Toast team corporately has raved about our rollout. And I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but they literally said out of the brands that they've done, and this is their corporate team, they have never seen one done so thoroughly and so quickly in all of the companies that they have rolled out. It usually is a 90-day process. And yes, we truncated it into 32 days. That was what I said at the very beginning. This is going to be remarkably quick. But it's in place now and you're up and running. And so that's the benefit of it. So, we felt the benefit of rushing that outweighed waiting the 3 months or 90 days to get it in place. So I hope you also appreciate our goal of trying to get things in to make impact as quickly as possible. And I'll stop there because I know there's a few more questions coming in.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Wes. Couple questions coming in through the chat. One from Miss Linda. Are we going to receive marketing assets that we can share to our own personal socials? There was a lot of screen grabs shared for the gift card launch.
Yeah, I think we've got to do a better job there for sure. And I think as we bring in, more marketing assets in as far as resources with team members, that's going to be a heavy focus of us and how we can give you more to share on your own. And so I think even the hub platform itself needs to be kind of reworked and redone to make it much more accessible for you, easier to search, easier to find the assets that you want, and to have things up there that are meaningful. I think we'll also work with Neil's team on that as well, because he's going to help us even on email campaigns and different things that are outside of the scope of local SEO.
Alex asks, for marketing, will there be opportunities for local store owners to spend more money to drive more sales through tools brought by the NP team?
Hallelujah, 100%. That is what our goal is. We want to give you and provide you with an effective, efficient template that is going to be able to allow you to invest local dollars, and then it's going to give you ROIs and reports as to how effective that spend was. Obviously, the proof is in the pudding when you see increased sales based on that spend, but we also want to provide you with reports that show you what target you hit, how effective your ad spend was, so you can really hone in and spend it effectively. And I think that's what we've probably struggled with up to this point. And Neil Patel's team is going to come in and help us really refine that process.
Rania asks, is there a franchise owners call, like a mastermind group that talks monthly from an owner's perspective? I don't know if you can answer that, Trevor, or if Alex or someone else wants to pipe up, but Rania, I'm sure that there are cadences besides the chats that circulate the system that you could get your hands on.
And if not, there should be. We encourage you to communicate as much as possible with each other, share best practices, share what's working, what's not, and then bubble that up to us. To the extent that we can help provide a platform, we'd love to be able to do so. We're just not sure, which one to pick. We'd love that to come from you, from the field, because I think all the best ideas are always generated from the owners, operators.
Mm-hmm. Patrick asks, on that, do we have any plans for some deep dive on Toast reporting or deeper functionality that lives in the system? Yes, we can use support, but something more EB specific would be beneficial. I can speak to that really quickly. We are continuing to have what Toast calls office hours with some Toast reps to get better educated ourselves on reporting best practices and more. And as we continue to get those learnings, we will share them with you. Sandra and Courtney had one as recent as yesterday. We have another this afternoon. So as we continue to get more information, we'll post it publicly so that way it is shared and that we can all be Toast experts. Linda comments that a search option on the hub would be very helpful. Brooke comments that cleaning up the hub would be very helpful. Agreed. There was some agreements. Maria asks, has there been a replacement for Sandra? If not, who will the newer owners contact for support or meetings if necessary?
Yeah, both were obviously on the search for our next remarkable team member that's going to help be your franchise business coach. Fortunately, in our system with our area reps, we have a lot of people that are already, franchise business coaches for them, so we can lean on them to support a little bit. We will get you a point of contact. We will ensure that
Your mic.
Can you hear me now? The mic keeps cutting out. I'm not sure why. But we will get that support to you. We will get that point of contact to you. And, we're not just going to hire the first person that comes in the door in order to fill her role. We're going to look for somebody that is incredibly remarkable with our system and can make a huge difference in what you do and how you do it for profitability and coaching.
And then Kim and Raleigh has her hand raised. You can unmute yourself, Kim.
Kim, you there? She'll come back to us.
Wonderful. All right. Well, with that, we will continue on. I'm now going to pass the mic over to Matthew.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and good afternoon for those of us on the East Coast today. Two topics I really want to cover with everybody today. One has to do with collecting P&Ls and financials from everyone here in the system. And then the second has to do with how we've been collecting royalties and brand dev. I did receive some email and some feedback from everyone that there's been some confusion, and I'd like to clear some of that up today. And then thank you, Kim Harris, for bringing it to my attention more specifically, which will be great for today's presentation. First, profit and loss. As Jeff said in the very beginning, we're going to hold ourselves to a higher standard and accountability coming in 2026. Our goal is to grow sales and AUVs as much as possible, but it's also to help you to the best of our ability with profitability. It's looking for trends in our system so we can identify them a little bit faster. It's looking on the individual store level so we can compare what you're doing to others, and we can come in with an area rep or a franchise business coach and be more productive in that way. But to do that, we need information from you. We've tried to collect financials from franchisees over the last, I'd say, year and a half, and it's been a little bit of a hodgepodge. And part of that's on us, asking for quarterly, sometimes monthly, sometimes year end. We really need to create a standard that everybody can follow and present and give us information timely so we can be remarkable for you. So starting with January financials, for 2026, we're going to ask that these be given to us monthly by the 20th of the following month. So on February 20th, we'll be looking for January profit and loss statements from all franchisees. Now, part of this issue that we've noticed is a lot of people have a different format. They use different accounting standards. They have different understandings of what goes into all these buckets that we have. And if we're going to have metrics and we're really going to be impactful, we need to standardize a lot of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a standardized form with very specific numbers that we're going to ask you to report. And you will upload your own forms and attachments so we can see them as well. That way we're comparing apples to apples. Now, I understand that not everybody is on this monthly cadence for profit and loss statements and financials getting out. First of all, we encourage you to do that. Business intelligence is important because it allows us to make decisions. But secondly, us as franchisors are in the same boat, and that's what we need to do. So if you need any help, we're in this transition of going from whatever your cadence is, every other month or quarterly to monthly. That's why I'm here. I'm going to get into the specifics about what I'll be requiring right after the turn of the year with a webinar that I offer. Also, for all of you in the system, if you don't have anyone that does your books, and this is going to be a struggle for you, for a group of stores, about 15, we do financials for them currently. We charge a very low fee to do that. If you don't have anyone, we can be here and be a resource for you. Generally speaking, we're more inexpensive than anybody that's really out there. So if that's of interest to you, definitely send me a message. If not, I'm more than happy just to coach you on how to get everything into the proper monthly cadence. And again, a webinar and training will be following very shortly on the specifics on this. Okay. Let's talk about collection of payments. And I have heard from a couple of you over the last few weeks about some pain points that you've had. And I want to start by level setting. There's a lot of expectations about things being similar to what Crisp is. I'm realizing that a lot of people maybe didn't know some of the capabilities of Crisp. And now that we're with Toast, it's just different. So just very quick about what we were doing and then how that is a little bit different now. In the background, we would create invoices that would take your gross sales from all channels as reported through Crisp, and we would create reports and invoices that we would then validate with Crisp. They'd get uploaded, and then their payments get automatically pulled. So for lack of a better word, we were doing all this work in the background. You just never really saw it. And now that Toast no longer has this capability, since Toast does not have the capability to have stored reporting, you're now getting invoices from us. So that's what's changed a little bit. So what our new process is, and this should have probably been communicated a little bit more clearly on the launch, so I'll take some accountability for that, is the Everbowl accounting team creates these invoices and now sends them to you. So you're seeing what it is for royalties, for brand dev, if there's any fees that are related to your franchise, like a tech fee or email. Our dedication and promise to you is by the second business day of each week, we will get these out to you. There's holidays and things that might prevent us. Generally speaking, it'll be the first business day, but by the second for sure. And then last, but certainly not least, we have an expectation these invoices will be paid within 3 days of receipt. Looking at what happened in the Crisp mechanism, this is how it was done before. We prepared them on Monday, we uploaded them on Tuesday. Crisp started pulling on Wednesday, and by Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, the invoices were paid. Again, a lot of that's more manual now, and that's what you're seeing as opposed to it being automatic. But good news is we do have some changes that are happening imminently, which we'll go through. And we'll talk about here in just a second. All right, reconciliation process. As I mentioned, we're gonna have a webinar in January for the P&Ls and accounting. So I'm going to add on to that. I'm gonna go through how you can reconcile a royalty invoice to a franchisor gross sales report, which is what we see, to what you see in your stores. So you will have the opportunity and the ability to actually look at it all the way through the chain. I will do that, and I will tack that onto that same webinar that I'm going to do in January that I'll be inviting all of you to, so you have full visibility. Many of you are already doing it now. Just one caveat between now and we get to that webinar, if you are trying to look at and reconcile your sales, make sure you're looking at all sales channels. And again, I'll go into more detail how to do that at that time. In the beginning, there was some confusion, especially in the first 2 invoices about them not being labeled properly or not having enough information. I believe we've solved that now where it's specific to, it's a brand dev, it's a royalty, it's for this period of time that's there. If you're still having difficulty or need more detail, please let us know. Because we have to create so many of these at one time, there are limitations to how much detail I can provide, but there's always opportunities to make it easier to read for each and every one of you. So that's a little bit on the reconciliation. And just to round it out here, a little bit future changes. We will eventually have another partner that will do something similar to what Chris does, but that's way in the distant future. So don't look to expect that anytime soon. You'll still get invoices every single week from our internal accounting team for your brand dev and for your royalty. However, we are going back to automatic pulls with ACHs like we did through Crisp. We've been trying to set it up through Chase. I can tell you that we finally got it turned on yesterday for the first time. We actually put some test transactions through this morning. I am testing to see how much information can come in on your bank feed. Can I actually have it say brand dev or royalty? Can I actually have it say what week it's coming through? It's going to take me about a week to get through that test. As soon as the test is completed, then I'll give everyone an announcement. I'll give everybody a week to prepare, and then we will move back to the automatic payments. When you filled out your ACH forms prior, I collected all that information from you, so I've got it. Again, I'll be sending out a reminder, so if there's any updates before it happens, you will see it. So that part will now be a lot more smooth, will be a lot more easy. There's not going to be 10,000 invoices that'll be unpaid that you'll see. Again, you'll still get all the invoices from our accounting team, but they'll be paid automatically. So new coming, brand new as of yesterday, that's new for us as well. The last thing that I will say is because this process is now happening, we are the gatekeepers if information changes. So if anything happens, like you have a bank account that changes, if you have a name on your account that changes, something like that, I need everyone to inform right away, because if there's not a 1-for-1 match, that's why the forms you filled out were so important, then it will reject the payments. And then we have fees and all that stuff that get returned, and we'd have to pass that on. I don't want to have to go through that. Just know if you have a banking change to inform us right away. So with that, that's some changes. There definitely, this was a large process. We barreled through quite a few of this, and we're getting to the end where it's going to be a little bit easier now in the future.
Fantastic. Matthew, a couple questions came through in the chat. Alex asked, for Z's that use Blendwealth for accounting, I think it's about 25% of the system, can we have them approve Blend sharing the data monthly?
I would have to, I'll answer that question. I need to look a little bit deeper into it for one reason. I need to know what is shared. I need to know if I can get authorization to share and aggregate data. I believe the answer to that is yes, by the way, but I do need to verify that. It's a great suggestion, and I'll look into it, Alex.
Mike's clarifying, will the new process be in play for the long term, or will there be an integration like we had with Crisp?
The process that I just named you is for the foreseeable future. We will eventually have a third party. We've talked on and off about net settlement, and the reality is to do that, Crisp had a mechanism to do it. To do it outside of that is quite the task. So before we have an integration, it will be quite a long time, at least 2 quarters, if not more.
Downing Riley, I believe, asks, has there ever been a consideration to moving to allow franchisees to a 13-week quarter system up to 3 periods, 5-4-4, to have helped be organized from a P&L standpoint to compare apples to apples better?
The short answer is yes, and I'll just share with you internally, we do P&Ls both ways. For operations, we look more on the 13-week quarter cadence, but then for monthly, we're looking at how we view financials now. We need a standard format, so for now we will keep with the monthly, but it's a great suggestion because it may be more valuable. It's not something we'll look at today, but we'll keep it in mind for the future.
Patrick asks, is there a standardized chart of accounts and P&L format that you would want franchisees to use?
Absolutely, Patrick. I will be sending that out right before I have that webinar in January, and the whole system will have it from me. It's a great question.
Miss Linda extends her appreciation to the work that's going on behind the scenes. Mike asked to please give us a heads up before the first ACH poll. Kimberly Harris asked, does the weekly sales ranking include sales for all channels? If you're referencing the store number where you have the secret store number code, yes, that does include sales for all channels. Annie asks, are there any fees with this ACH draw?
The answer is no. There'll be no fees to you. The only time there'd be a fee is if the payment were to bounce for some reason.
And then the final question in the chat from John Murray says, can the accounting team remove open checks from gross sales? They have to be voided in store and difficult to avoid completely. Matthew, talk about this offline if you're not familiar with the open check.
I am a little bit, and Jonathan, I'll have to take that offline with you. The short answer is yes and no. There's not an easy way, but I'll talk more offline with you about that.
Gotcha. And then Miss Linda, I will make sure that you have that Google Sheet shared with you. It's just a Google Sheet that's shared with everybody. So I will make sure after this webinar that you have access to that. That does it for questions that are in the chat. Kim, you have your hand raised. You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Matthew, my question is not for you. I'm going to chime in from last time I tried, but wanted to give a shout out to everyone at head office. We are opening tomorrow, so we're super excited. So thank you all. Also just wanted to say about Neil Patel, that is freaking amazing. Like, he is just an absolute legend. So the fact that we are working with him is truly, truly remarkable. The question I had was, and I may have missed it, but what's the timing on that? I know we just signed, but when will we start seeing the fruits of our labors for that?
Yeah, good question. We're, like everything that we do, we're doing our best to get this in play as quickly as possible. They are currently in the onboarding process. We expect that to be like through the month of December, and then kind of cooking with fire very early in January. So not a long transition, not a long delay. It's really about getting them hooked up to all of our systems and getting all the analytics and letting them analyze everything and then rolling out the plan. But they've done this many times before and they know exactly how to implement. So should be quick.
Wonderful. A couple chats came through regarding open checks. I want to take just a moment to speak to that before we continue. So we did discover that there is an opportunity for stores to have what Toast considers an open check, which would report into gross sales by Toast function. That's not a function of Everbowl, that's a function of the Toast system. The only way for a store to have open checks is for them to disable the configuration that we set forth when we sign stores up, which is to require payment before a ticket is printed, meaning the transaction is closed. So if you have reverted that setting to where a ticket can print without payment so that a team member could get started on an order or for whatever other reason, you are at risk of having open checks. And so that is the discourse that we're seeing here. So if you are experiencing that, what I would say to you is to consider that should be turned off. I did send an email to anyone that I recognize to have changed this setting. It's not a small number. I think it was 20 or less stores. I did only hear back from Kim, I believe. So I will bump that email back to those of you who at the time I noticed had changed the setting. And we did since change that back. If you changed it back once again, you would then experience open checks again. But please reach out to me directly and we can continue that conversation. But that's just a little bit of the why behind you experiencing open checks. It is not, to my knowledge, a system-wide experience because it cannot happen unless a ticket is printed without the payment being made. So, but we will look into that more. Fantastic. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Tristan to discuss some marketing updates.
Thank you, Haley. So to kick off the marketing section, I wanted to announce that the long-awaited marketing calendar is now live and available to view on the hub for the months of December of this year and January of next year. So this structure is subject to change, but I wanted to show y'all how it's going to function for the next 2 months. So for December of this year, The marketing calendar will be updated daily, detailing any major or minor holidays, and we will provide any scheduled emails, push notifications, SMS campaigns, press releases, or any promotion drops or menu changes as well. For January 2026, this month will be updated weekly until the start of next year, in which it will be maintained daily. And then this also highlights any major or minor holidays as well. And any respective campaigns and events for January of 2026 will be updated soon. With that, I wanted to provide y'all with some statistics from our new loyalty system via Incentivio. So these statistics are from the months of October 1st all the way until November 30th. So across the system, there have been 42,479 total loyalty orders that stem from our loyalty guests. In-store orders make up majority of the loyalty orders. In that same time frame, we have a total of 257,000 plus completed accounts to date from migrated users. So that's a great news to having those accounts completed. Net sales in the months of October reached 5 million plus, and loyalty order net sales in October and November reached 869,835. This means that all sales for loyalty orders make up 17% in all transactions. So that's a very big number, and I am highly encouraged to continue to promote loyalty benefits to capture these high value guests. So on the topic of loyalty members, of the 250,000 plus completed accounts, we have 30,268 active members, meaning that they have made one or more purchases at any of the stores across the nation. So of those 30,000 active members, I wanted to highlight and congratulate the top 3 stores who have the highest utilization of the loyalty program from their guests. So congratulations to Anna and Elijah out in Murrieta, California, for having the 3rd highest utilization with 760 active members, making up 2.41% of total active users. Next, congratulations to Jackie and John Murray out in Chesapeake, South Carolina, for having the 2nd highest utilization with 1,220 active users, making up 3.87% of total active users. And in first, congratulations to Angela and Brandon out in Kapolei, Hawaii, for having the highest store utilization with 1,228 active users that make up 4% of all active members. Just 8 more than Chesapeake. John and Jackie. Just barely missing out there, barely missing out. But congratulations to all of you guys. And feel free to email me if you want to be sent your location loyalty performance statistics. I'll be happy to provide those to y'all so you guys have those insights. And to round things up, I wanted to remind y'all about the marketing communications through Incentivio. So to kick it off, emails have no associated cost with them. But for sending out any SMS messages, they are still 3 cents per text messages. However, I wanted to remind you all again that this does not include SMS order confirmations for your stores, only national marketing text messages. So unfortunately, both email and SMS are still national only, but I'm currently in communication with Incentivio to see if they are planning on providing us with the ability to have localized efforts in those respective communications. And I wanted to remind y'all also for SMS specifically, Incentivio bills each location evenly based on the total cost for the amount of messages sent out nationally, which again is not ideal, but I'm still in communication on Incentivio if that is subject to change. But I wanted to remind y'all that this charge is a pass-through cost out of our brand div at the end of the month, and it will be reconciled and refunded at the end of the month as well. And since this is a national brand marketing element, that is why it's a part of brand dev currently. And lastly, push notifications. So our current structure is no cost for 2 separate push notifications per month per store. However, if you want to exceed the complimentary amount of 2 push notifications per month, it will come at a $75 flat fee per push notification for any additional push notifications north of 2 per month. And I highly recommend for those who haven't put in an official request for push notifications in this new structure, I highly recommend that you review the request form for local push notifications ahead of time so you can gather all required information to successfully submit your request. And I also wanted to remind you all that request must be sent 5 business days in advance of the start date to not only be approved, but to be successfully sent out to your guests. So with that, that concludes the marketing section. Feel free to unmute currently, and I will answer any questions in the chat as well.
Mike, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Tristan. Hey, quick question on the push notifications.
Yes.
Is there would you suggest a minimum number of people that are registered on there to make that worthwhile? So if there is, I would be interested to see what those guidelines are. Maybe you can share them out and use that as a goal to say, hey, when your store has X number of people, that's a really good time to pull the trigger on this. Because if you only have 20 people or if you only have less than 100 people, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But so yeah, if you could provide some guidance around that, because then that could also give us as franchisees a guideline on how to continue to drive more people to that, so that we can have, you know, that local fan base that we can continue to engage with.
Definitely. So the first thing I recommend before, you know, kind of detailing the exact number of guests that I recommend personally, I wanted to remind y'all the criteria for a loyalty guest to receive a local push notification, meaning that they have to update their app, successfully reset their password, and make a transaction specifically at your store. That's how they are able to receive the message in the first place. But when it comes to, you know, the exact distribution count, off the top of my head, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I know that most, if not all, of our stores across the nation are above 100 active members, meaning that that is honestly, in my opinion, a good ballpark number to have north of at least 100 active members assigned to your store to make the push notification worthwhile. And I want to remind y'all that push notifications are only sent to loyalty guests. So this is not a marketing element to help capture new guests that come into your store. But once you have migrated them into a loyalty guest, then they can be, then they can receive that call to action or awareness message to whatever offers or promos you have locally. But I do think that the 100+ range is a good starting place to at least have a good distribution count, so as many people as possible can receive the message and be aware of any special offers or promos. Hopefully that answers your question, Mike. Give me 1 second. Let me open up the chat here.
Kim, did you have a question?
Oh, yes, Kim.
I did. So,
I didn't see that. Go ahead.
no, you're good. Obviously, I know we've spoke about it, but what's our plans still? Obviously, in-store efforts, but to continue to get more people on the app. I think it's still a huge opportunity, right? I know before we transitioned from Crisp, like we had, I don't want to misquote, but I think we had like for our store alone, like 10,000 phone numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, those aren't, some of those are people that just got the free bowl. We've never seen them again, everything like that. However, I can tell you right now we have 600. So that's a massive gap, right? And I know like, it's somewhere in between, but I'm still concerned that we don't have like a regular conversation with, you know, even if it's 1,000 more people, even if it's 500 more people that we're not getting to because they're not getting the app. So I guess long-winded, but what is the timeline on when there's going to be an option, hopefully, for them to be able to sign up for loyalty on the point of sale? Because I think that's really what we're missing.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of these aspects that are lacking are subject to change from the Incentivio team. We've put in, or we've kind of brought a lot of things to their attention. I don't, in all honesty, I don't have an official timeline on when that's going to be available. I know that's obviously kind of hinders how many new loyalty guests come into your door and sign up. But I will definitely kind of push the envelope to our support manager to see if I can acquire a timeline from him that I can then relay to y'all. But as of right now, I don't have anything from the Incentivio side, but I can tell you that working with MP Digital to help create approaches for you guys locally to help market to any new guests to sign up for the loyalty program is something that I want to do, hopefully, and hopefully distribute by the end of January of next month. But that is what I have currently. Obviously not the best of news, but I will update y'all as soon as I receive any news on that.
There are a couple questions in the chat that we can give quick answers to. The first comes from Kimberly Harris. Do you have any push templates that they can use?
Push templates, as of right now, no. But that is something that we can definitely provide for y'all.
Well,
personally,
I'm
that's why.
Justin, if you don't mind, like what
Yeah,
you're
go
going to do is provide us with the information that you need pushed, and we're going to create the push notification for you. So we'll allow you to, look at it, preview it, make sure like if the graphics that you want are in there. But that'll be on us to do. So there's a lot of work on our end, not a lot of work, but there's work on our end to do that. That's why, we're giving 2 free per location per month right there. That's, a lot if everybody wanted to jump in on once. And then if there are more than that, that's why we do the charge, because there's work involved, but we'll create those for you.
Another question comes in from Miss Annie. She says, are there sample push notifications that have been successful? To chime in on that, since switching to Incentivio, there hasn't been too many push notifications requested by local franchisees, but as we continue to get more, we'll share ones that performed well with you all so that you can see them as a reference. Mike says, can we have our app download notification napkin holders? Yes, that was on Mary's project list with our graphic designer. We just spoke about that today. So I'm going to pick that up and see where we are at with that project. Mike also adds perhaps some additional in-store marketing materials, or perhaps NP can work on local campaign for this. Absolutely. As Trevor said, we did just sign the agreement yesterday, so it is very fresh, but we are very excited to get the ball rolling as quickly as possible. Justin says, as different push notifications are done around the country, could we get some data on messaging offers that have been best converting? Absolutely. As I said, we haven't had many, I would say less than a dozen so far. Most of the stores that are using them are taking advantage of the 2 per month, and that's what we're seeing in terms of engagement. But as Tristan said, highly encouraged to put in a request and give it a try to see if it performs.
Yeah, I'd like to say one more thing too on the push notification. So our goal, right, is this is a national push notification that we're doing, right? We are additionally allowing local pushes to happen. We don't want to inundate our guests though, right? We don't want to have them get 4, 5, 6 push notifications, because then they tune out, and we don't want that. So what we want to do is coordinate with you to make sure that you know which ones are going out on nationwide on our behalf, and then you can supplement those or add to those and tailor them to your local market. So it is not just, for local use only.
Wonderful. All right. Well, with that, we're going to continue on to the operations and training section. I would like to invite Sandra to come and speak for a moment.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to continue to recognize catering efforts for this entire group. First, I do want to say thank you to Courtney. She is back, and she started the playbook and all operational elements of catering, and she'll continue to do this moving forward. So when we look at the sales as a % of total sales and break it down by catering, this is all in-store catering when you get the phone calls or you have somebody taking in the order. This is easy cater, and this is off-premise or off-sale, off-site sales as well. Last year, if we're comparing to previous year, last year, 1.2% of total sales accounted for catering. Look at the green, 2.6. Congratulations on all of your efforts. You continue to make friends, build relationships, and it shows on the numbers. Now, that being said, you heard earlier, right? There's business-to-business growth opportunities that Neil mentioned. That would be equivalent to the Easy Cater platform, in addition to the expansion in menu offerings that also is going to help contribute to growth in sales. And so when we look at the average order value, how much is each order? We're looking at the Easy Cater to be one of the lower amounts. However, the frequency of purchases is more than the other two segments. Haley, if you could do me a favor and click on that, please. And so you see Easy Cater came in at $270 per order. And these numbers here are from January 1st through November 30th. Offsite is higher. I know, for example, of at least one store that did a 3-day weekend where they brought in $20,000 for a tournament. So they're smaller in frequency, but tend to be higher in average sales. And then catering, where you establish those relationships, are averaging about $400. One of the things that I want to leave you with, and this is my final webinar, and so when I say leave, it really is a little bit heartbreaking here. But one of the things I want to leave you with is to say, please continue to focus on the metrics and leverage that information that you have available to you. Easy Cater is one of those that is very easy to navigate on the merchant portal for you. And they as you know, if you meet certain criteria, and I've listed them here, that'll get you on the list of a reliability rock star. And what that does is put you way above everybody else. And the next slide, I want to show the 10 stores in the system that are already status as an Easy Cater reliability rock star. Those 10 stores, Haley, if you could do the next slide, please. Those 10 stores have met all of the criteria. And by the way, their sales tend to be higher than non-reliability rockstar stores. So congratulations to those franchisees. Now, there are 2 stores in the system that have been perfect, absolutely perfect on every single metric, including the 5-star rating from customers. And so I want to take a sec to say thank you and congratulations to Justin Sloan and Josh Feldman for those 2 stores, La Jolla in California and Oak Lawn, Texas. I'm going to volunteer them. I'm going to say reach out to them. I know they love to share best practices if you want to get the inside scoop on what it takes for them to get those stores ready to go. The other thing I want to talk about briefly is our Ecolab preferred vendor contract. We do have an MSA. I know there was something that we put in on the EverNews with some information, but I want to take just a couple of minutes to dive a little bit deeper. If you're not that familiar with Ecolab, they are best in class. They are by far the go-to brand for anything related to chemicals, cleaning agents, things like that. They service hospitals, schools, and then businesses as well. What Ecolab does with our contract is they will install the equipment for you. When I talk about equipment, I'm talking about the 3-compartment sink chemical system, including the mop sink system. They calibrate it so that the proper amount of chemicals is dispensed. They leave you all of the training material, wall charts, laminated. They'll do the little laminated information on the mop sink as well. And then they do in-store training when they come in to install the information. The lower cost that we have negotiated through Cisco is as follows. You can see it on the slide. Now, I know you might see, $155, $105 and get a little bit of sticker shock. But remember, these are containers that are going to last you months. And so the next slide, the next section there where the penny is at, is a breakdown of the actual chemical cost if you were to think of it in terms of the fill of the section in your 3-compartment sink. For example, sanitizer. Typical sanitizer amount of water takes about 20 gallons. You need 2 ounces of sanitizer to be dispensed to fill that section of sanitizer in your sink. You're literally spending about 1 penny per every 5 cycles of water or sanitizer in your sink. A multi-surface cleaner. This is Windex, the equivalent of Windex and a multi-surface cleaner. You can clean your countertops, your tables. the entire cost of a 32-ounce spray bottle comes out to 38 cents. If you compare that to a thing of Windex, $4 or $5, this is, pretty good. Dishwasher, same thing, same premise. It takes 3 sinks to turn for a cost of 1 penny. The floor cleaner is the only one that's a little bit more pricey, and even at that, to fill 1 standard mop bucket, you're spending less than 2 pennies a pop. And so hopefully you can appreciate that. Yes, you pay initially $100 and something for the jug, the 2.5 gallon jug, for example, but it will last you. Now, if it is not lasting you months, then I would reach out to your rep so they can go back and recalibrate the chemical section there. The last thing I want to leave you with regards to Ecolab is that, again, they are the food safety experts and industry leaders. And as you continue to evolve with your food safety protocols and improving behaviors and operational excellence at the store, these are the guys you want to have by your side. They have 24/7 service support. They have other information available online. They have material data sheets that hopefully they won't visit, but your OSHA might swing by at any time random. You'll be able to have access to that. And then you can order other things like first aid kits, restroom air fresheners, etc. So if you are not on a contract already with some other provider, I would highly encourage you to reach out to Courtney to ask her to help initiate setup, and she'll be more than happy to do that. If you are already on another program, check your contract and see if maybe you can get out and you can try and join this one. I highly recommend that. The last thing that I wanted to share is a status update on Grubhub. The last webinar we had, I did speak to Grubhub. So 2 parts with Grubhub. One is the new store openings or new stores that want to onboard. Those stores that have reached out to me have been a total about 9 to 10 stores. They are in the process. We have a 5% marketing, extra marketing fee or subscription, if you will, in our MSA. And so what that brings is an added feature similar to like a DoorDash Pass, or on the Uber Eats, they call that Uber Eats One. Well, Grubhub calls it Grubhub Plus. And what that does is it allows you to capitalize on those diners that are Grubhub Plus customers. They make up 50% of all Grubhub orders, and they are the high frequency guests. They also include the subscription to being shown in through the Amazon Prime partnership with Grubhub. So that gives you visibility to 120 million or more Amazon Prime customers. And so, yes, it is a slightly higher, and you can see the breakdown there. Our program is a 22.05% only because it allows for that extra 5% marketing spend. Now, if you are looking at a pickup only, your total commission is 10%. If you're looking at delivery, your commission is 20%, similar to DoorDash. If you are already active and the stores that have submitted to integrate or to onboard on Toast, all of those stores, we are working currently on integrating with Toast now that Toast has capability to integrate. And so that is in the process. We currently are approving store-by-store MSA with Toast to be able to guarantee you the free 0 charges on the monthly for integration. So we're looking at about a 2-week. And the next steps, once that is set up for you, is you're going to see your checklist on Toast, just like you did before with DoorDash and with Uber Eats integration, to just follow the steps and go through. And if you have any questions, or for those that want to continue to onboard your new stores, or you are not currently onboarding with Grubhub and you want to move forward with that, feel free to send Haley an email. The very last thing I have is to say thank you to everyone It's been a very, very valuable and wonderful time for me to be part of Everbowl. Thank you to my internal team. I love you guys, but I also love you guys. I've got a lot of wonderful memories that I'll take with me, and I wish you all the best. And I can't wait to see what this group is going to continue to move forward with. And now I'll pass it over to Haley.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sandy. All right, y'all, I know we are running long. Please bear with me. I have a few more slides and then we will wrap up with some questions and release you for the day. I wanted to kick off with some very exciting app updates for our Everbowl app. 2 things to keep in mind that we expect to roll through by the end of the year. Number 1, we are going to have auto expanded customizations. If you all go onto your app right now and let's say go to order a signature bowl, you will see that the more customizations is not expanded. You have to take action and press it to be able to expand all of the additional modifiers. The same could go for any other modifier group that is not a required modifier group on any product. With working with Incentivio, based on feedback that we've collected from you all, we are now in the process of updating the app so that there is full visibility of all modifiers. The second update that you can expect by the end of the year is a fun one, modifier images. This is going to improve the ordering experience by delivering a visual aid. All guests will be able to see an image of every single modifier, whether it's a scoop of acai or a sprinkle of chia seeds, you name it, we shot it. There are images that are currently being uploaded, and we expect for those changes to also come through by the end of the year or very early next year. So we're very excited to have those app updates in place. No action is needed on your part, just an update for you to expect what's to come. To continue on, I wanted to give a reminder about ShipDay. ShipDay is our white label delivery management system that is replacing what we previously had with DoorDash Drive. Before migrating to Toast, approximately 30% of the system was using DoorDash Drive, but that engagement has since dropped, probably from a lack of awareness. Please do your due diligence and at least taking up our rep, Eric, on educating yourself on the ShipDay platform. It aggregates both DoorDash and Uber Eats orders, so you essentially have twice as many opportunities to have white label delivering. You can set a lot of customizations on the platform, whether you want things to be by the best price or by the quickest delivery, and it's all going to be integrated through Incentivio. So all of those orders will flow through, and it's a very seamless process. To date, we have less than 10 people that have inquired about ShipDay. So please, even if you do not plan on onboarding to the platform, at least use the form that I will include once again in today's recap email to get educated. Eric, our rep, is doing 30-minute educational sessions with everyone that is inquiring. So learn more about it, decide if it's for you. It is an opt-in program, but we do encourage you to increase those off-prem sales in any way that you can. I also wanted to share a reminder that you have some homework. Exporting CRISP reports from your CRISP dashboard. The dashboard is expected to go away, meaning you will not have access to it at all by the end of the year on December 31st. So please take it upon yourself to sit down. It shouldn't take you any more than 30 minutes, but to export reports for your store. For last year, for this year, for every year since you've been open, grab sales summaries, grab product reports, grab your discounts reports if you want them, grab your time punches if you want those historicals, grab your tips report if you want those historicals, but that onus is on you. So please make sure that you do that. And if you have any questions about that, reach out to me and I would be happy to help you with that directly. Any questions on operations or training before we continue? All right, continue we shall. I wanted to take a moment to give a preview of the spring promotion. This is going to be completely separate of what Jeff was discussing in the beginning of the webinar, so put on a new hat, and we're going to dive into what to expect for the 2026 spring promotion. We are going to be having a SIPS revamp and expanding our beverage line to include fun new offerings. To give you a little taste, or a sip, I should say, here's a quick image of references of what we can expect to be bringing on in the new year. Let's dive into it just a bit. Couple details. This is going to be tailored as a new product launch. It is not a limited time offer. These beverages are expecting to be launched and to stay on the menu as offerings long term. We will, however, be showcasing it during the spring season. We are going to be giving more details on a webinar that we will be hosting on January 14th. This is just a preview. And the launch is going to be on February 4th. So winter promotion will continue until February 3rd, and the spring promotion will launch on February 4th. Now to dive into some of the product details. We are going to be offering ice and ice blended beverages, meaning products that are served cold over ice and products that are blended together with ice. This will include ice blended coffee, cold brew, and matcha that is both over ice and ice blended. We are going to also be discontinuing the following products to accommodate space on the menu for these new offerings. The products that we will be discontinuing will include the acai lemonade, the strawberry basil sparkler, peach berry tea, mango tea, and the mango frozen sip. The reasoning for this, to share a little, and we'll dive into deeper detail on our upcoming webinar, they were not performing at all in comparison to the success of the strawberry and the dragon fruit sips, which I'm sure we can all agree on. With that, I want you to please stop ordering the following items: acai powder, peach syrup, mango syrup, and green tea. If you have a surplus of these items in your store, do not fear. You can continue to sell them up until February 4th. Even beyond February 4th, if you have a small inventory that you need to deplete, you're welcome to continue to sell them, but please know that they won't be showcased on the menu and they will not be in your point of sale. So you can exercise the open item offering if you needed to. To touch on equipment, we are going to be again emphasizing the importance of getting a commercial ice machine and a commercial water filter ahead of this launch. If you have not already invested in this equipment, I highly, highly encourage you to do so before the SIPS revamp on February 4th. You will need filtered water for this offering, and you will need it in a much higher volume than we have experienced to date. If anyone doesn't know what's on the left-hand side of my screen, this is called a toddy. This is what Starbucks uses to make coffee. It's a big old bucket, and it's going to need a lot of water. So your Brita is not going to cut it anymore. We want to prepare ourselves for a high volume of beverage sales, and we cannot deliver if we do not have the means in store. So please exercise your opportunity now to take the time in the slower season to revamp the store with a water filter, water line, ice machine, so that you can be remarkably serving these new products. Any quick questions on the spring promotion? Again, knowing that we do have the webinar in the middle of January coming up. What about for those that don't have space for a large ice machine? Let's talk offline and look at your store and see where we could be able to fit it. We can loop Alex into the conversation as well, and she may be able to help redesign some space in the back. Kim asks, what's the recommendation for stores and centers with Starbucks who are unable to sell coffee per their lease? Trevor, let's connect offline and draft a game plan as to how to approach that for those stores.
Josh already answered that, and it's do it anyway. There are no real coffee police that patrol. Menus have blended from center to center, and if you come up with an individual issue that your landlord or your center isn't allowing you to sell something on the menu, you'll contact us. We'll start discussions with them, and we'll point out everybody else that has similar items on their menu. It really tends to be like a percentage of sales conversation, not whether you have it or whether you don't.
Right. And the same goes for other offerings that we have, such as smoothies as well. Josh brought up a great point that the ice machine does actually fit underneath the wing of your 3-compartment sink. The caveat is that you need it to be mounted to the ground. So you would actually not have it on wheels or on legs. You would mount it to the ground. It does fit. That's actually how we have it here in our corporate office. So that is also an alternative for anyone concerned about space. Miss Linda asked if we can get the links to the toddy today. Yes, in the recap email today, I'm going to be sharing all of this, including links to toddy and other equipment such as our recommended ice machine, recommended water lines, etc., so that you can get a jump on getting that ordered. Any other questions regarding the spring promotion at this time? Okay, fantastic. Well, with that, we are going to now open it up to just a generic questions and discussion section. As the last couple of QBUs, we have been sending a form for folks to submit questions in advance of the QBU. So thank you to everybody that did that. I'm first going to address those questions, and then we'll open it up to everybody else to drop questions in the chat or to raise their hand. Trevor, most of these questions will be for you. The first question is from Patrick. Patrick asks about the breakdown of the marketing fund and the spend of brand development.
Yeah, and timing on that. So we, as I've said before, we do that annually, and that's always presented in the first QBU of the new year. So we collect all the data for the entire year because we've got multiple different programs coming throughout the year. Sometimes there's higher spends or lower spends in each quarter, or they're shifted to different types of platforms. I can tell you this, generally speaking, when we talk about brand dev, and I think this is an important point to hone in on. If you take an average store, if you take a store that does $500,000 a year in sales, for example, for easy math, right? That's $10,000 a year in brand dev marketing fund contribution. For that money, we do all of the research and development for all of the new products that are launched nationwide. We provide all of the collateral material that you receive for all the new promos and new product launches and LTOs. We do the National Acai Bowl promotion for the year. We manage and maintain and develop the website and the SEO. We now have Neil Patel Digital on board to drive brand awareness both nationally and locally. We pay for the PR firm to promote us nationally and locally. We run and manage all the social media for the corporate stores and provide you with all of the assets to be able to do your own. So there's a plethora of things that we do, and I would say that as an individual operator, there is no better money spent. There is no way that you could possibly get everything from a brand marketing fund fee that would go to pay for all of those things, right? So it really is money well spent. As far as the category breakdown, happy to provide that, and we do that every year on our QBU.
Awesome. Patrick also asks what plans there may be to amplify future LTOs.
Yeah, and I think again, Neil Patel Digital is to us a heavy solution for how we are going to promote and drive awareness for everything that we do, right? So how do we amplify what we're doing? And I think, Patrick, that's been what we've been really struggling and missing to do at a remarkable level. And so this is really where we're putting our efforts and energy, you know, along with all of the things that we've created around that, right? Having our PR firm, PFG. So we're going to amplify it digitally, locally, every way that we can. And we will track and measure results and provide those to you regularly.
Final question submitted by Patrick. He wanted to touch on the topic of same-store sales.
Okay. Patrick, if you want to chime in on exactly what you want to know about same-store sales. I know we've got, just generally speaking, we've got many stores who are way up in sales, many stores who are way down in sales, and we've got, you know, an average system-wide of just about 1% above last year. That's not a great number. We always want to be double digits in same-store sales. Again, we are fighting, as you all know, a lot of headwinds in the economy right now. And this isn't just us. We're a part of a cohort of all of quick service restaurants who are struggling to seeing declining guest counts, which is why we're doubling down and talking about things like menu expansion, why we're bringing in Neil Patel Digital to help amplify our voice, why we've got a new robust loyalty program that we also manage as part of the Brand Dev Fund. So we're kind of trying to hit this from all angles. I don't think there's one silver bullet, but I do believe that catering and off-prem, as Jeff was talking about, is really, you know, one of the best and easiest ways to grow in-store sales. So I think we're going to continue to work with you and with our partners to do everything that we can to throw the kitchen sink at it. Because again, just to remind everybody, this isn't us versus them. You know, what are we doing to grow sales? Everything in our power is the answer, because that's how we survive. You know, we are right along with you in growing those sales, because that's the sign of health of our organization.
Awesome. Another question / comment that came in from TJ in Nebraska. Mike, if you're on, this one's actually for you. On a previous call, we had heard that Refab Group would be contacting us. I did have a text in November, but hadn't had follow-up after that. So something to note for the Refab Group. Mike asked, will we have the Coco Lemon coming back in the summer LTO?
To be determined.
Justin asks, is there anything in the works to help to be able to increase third party to 25% above the menu? This is where we've been for many years with very little pushback, especially customers getting a bag with every order. And since Toast integration, we're losing 5% margin on every 3PD sales.
Sorry, I might have missed there. Are we talking about the cost of each of the commission on the 3PD or the amount of 3PD that we're selling as a percentage of sales?
So, like, I can
Go for it.
throw my 2 cents in here. So previously, DoorDash right now ups the menu price by 20% on everything. But in the past, we would have it up 25%. Because of like a $10 item and we up it 20%, now you're at $12. But when they take 20%, they're taking 20 of the $12, which is $2.40. So a $10 item, you're now netting $9.60. And you're also giving a bag and sometimes a menu, napkins, lids, spoons, etc. All the things, like you're giving everything no matter what. Whereas if it could be up by 25% to $12.50, now when they take their 20%, we still net our same $10. And we've been there for years and years and years. And, it's a free 5% on every sale. And given that it's 20-30% of our system, I think that could be something to look at.
And Justin, happy to work with you on that too. I know you're going to be here next week, so let's bring that up as a topic of conversation. I will say, that obviously you want as many guests as you can have ordering, and the higher the price to them, the fewer of them that will order, just generally speaking, right? So we are in a very value conscious era right now. And so I just think we need to take all those into consideration and then come up with the best plan that works for us. I know that it's not easy to do it individually. Like I'm going to have one rate and another store is going to have another rate, but yeah, happy to discuss that with you, with the team as a whole next week. And then we can give that feedback to the rest of the system.
Downing Riley asked in the chat with regards to catering, packaging, and delivering, what products do we have to help with our current menu plus additional menu items coming? From experience, this is important to execution and presentation to customers. I can speak to our current menu offerings. If you haven't already checked out the catering manual, there are great resources that are listed in there. But if you had any questions about other opportunities for equipment or transportation equipment, I would say to reach out to myself or Courtney as a best resource. I can't speak to what's to come. I'm not involved in that project, but if you have questions on how to best deliver catering for those menu offerings, I would recommend reaching out to Jeff.
Yeah, and I think as Jeff alluded to, like catering is a huge focus, just off premise in general is a big focus. So we're going to be doubling down our efforts and what we can do to anything from small to large caterings, which run the gamut of how those are executed. And suggestions are always welcome, Downing. So send them our way.
Wonderful. Kim asks, no, we're looking for a supply chain position, but what's the plan for ensuring no gaps with Sandra's transition? Any misses now will impact us in our busy period, so hypersensitive to this.
Yeah, Kim, totally understand that. I get that. A good conversation point. So fortunately, Courtney has come back from maternity leave. Yay, she's back on the team again. She is doing a lot of the reporting functionality. Right now, we have things in a basically a supply chain dashboard, and we all look at it. Matt looks at it. I look at it. Courtney produces that for us, and then we work regularly with our partners. So I'm on all the calls with Cisco that Sandra has been on. I'm in contact with our reps. I'm in contact with Via Dolce, our manufacturer, and with DOT, our redistributor. So we're not taking our eye off the ball. I will also tell you that, and this point kind of goes overlooked a little bit. When we went to DOT Foods and we went away from having to ship and manage logistics ourselves to Cisco directly across the country, Thomas, when he was in his role, his job went down from 100% utility to about 40%, which is why he started working and doing work for the Everbowl side. So even at Thomas's, when he was here, it was not a full-time job. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need that person in place and that we're not looking for that place. We are looking for a qualified supply chain manager who's going to come in and bring their expertise more on the forward looking, the forecasting, and then the vetting of new partners and the sourcing of new products. But as far as day-to-day operations, bases are in really good shape. Our supply chain logistics have never been stronger than they are at this moment. So we will be sure to continue to monitor that and won't let any gaps in the interim.
Fantastic. Mike, did you also have your hand raised for something, or was that for a question in the chat? Okay, fantastic. Does anybody else have any other questions at this time?
I'll just make a quick statement then if there are no more questions. First of all, really want to thank everybody on this call for your engagement, your involvement, your passion for Everbowl. Want to wish everybody a happy and healthy holiday season. I know this is a crazy time of year with everything going on and trying to manage family and trying to manage business and trying to manage, slower volume and sales. So really want to wish you a happy holidays, and then really a heartfelt thanks to our departing team members. We've got some big shoes to fill. There's no question about that. But I think, like anything, we're looking at this as if I could wave a magic wand and have a blank slate. What role, what position, what would I need to bring in? So we are not necessarily just replacing like for like. I don't think we can replace the likes of a Sandra or a Mary or a Thomas identically. But I think what we're going to do is shift and develop the role itself to be a larger role. So we're probably going to be looking for different people and with different skill sets to fill those roles. I will tell you that I'm very encouraged so far by the interviews that I've had, and I'm spending a lot of my time right now on all three of these roles, right? So we've kind of split Mary's up into a brand marketing and a local marketing role, and then we're looking for supply chain as well. And we now have, the FBC / new unit open trainer roles that are out there as well. So a lot of interviews that I'm working on, but I'm very encouraged by the talent that I have seen so far, and more updates on that in the weeks to come.
Thank you all very much for joining today. I'll be sending a recap email with the recording and other details from the webinar, and wish you all happy holidays. Have a good day.
Great day.
Thank you.